Come for me, cancel me. I don't care what you have to say. If you are poor, you should not be having children. I don't care eugenics this, eugenics that. If you don't have money, do not have kids. If you don't have money, if you don't have enough money to raise the kids, do not have kids. Let's stop acting like people are just living off of food stamps because they fucking want to. We shouldn't have to take care of your kids. Bitch, that's why we pay taxes. We don't get shit else for free. So why the fuck can our tax money go towards people who fucking need it? Food is not a fucking privilege. It's not a privilege to be able to eat, bitch.
Okay, let's not act like people are on food stamps because they want to, okay? Can we act like people are on food stamps because they made irresponsible decisions? Because they expected other people to fund a lifestyle that they chose for themselves but couldn't fund? Can we act like that? Because that's what it is. Don't even come in my comments talking about people who are disabled or people who are physically unable.
Oh, keep cooking. Mom, I'm sorry. I should not have stopped her. She's on a hot streak. Let's take it a little bit from the top.
Can we act like that? Because that's what it is. Don't even come in my comments talking about.
Hey, I want to hear that part again.
It's not a privilege to be able to eat, bitch.
Okay, let's not act like people are on food stamps because they want to, okay? Can we act like people are on food stamps because they made irresponsible decisions? Because they expected other people to fund a lifestyle that they chose for themselves but couldn't fund? Can we act like that? Because that's what it is. Don't even come in my comments talking about people who are disabled or people who are physically unable to work. That's clearly not what this conversation is. And then to sit there and say, that's why we pay taxes, as if that's really why we pay taxes, so that everybody, even people who have kids themselves, can fund individuals who chose to have kids but couldn't take care of them. That's why we pay taxes, really? I'm so sick of hearing people say that they need to feed their kids, as if kids are just these things that fall out of the sky and into your arms and oop, you're responsible for them. That's not how it works. You chose to lay down, you chose to make those babies, now you choose to take care of them. You don't get to make these irresponsible decisions and then cry when you don't have the means to fund a lifestyle that you chose for yourself. Like, how am I explaining this? Isn't this like level 1 responsibility? I agree that taxpaying dollars should go to people who need it. I don't agree that you can consider yourself somebody who needs it when you're somebody who made a conscious decision knowing that you couldn't uphold the responsibilities of that decision and now just expect that because you can't do it, well, somebody else has to do it because I need it. Well, then why did you do it? And then to say we don't get shit else for free, as if anything is free. Free just means it's not coming out of your wallet. And there are a lot of people that are not on food stamps that have to actually work, not get anything for free, but work to provide for their own kids. So why do you feel exempt? I'm never happy when I know that people are going to be going without. Okay, let me make that extremely clear. I am happy that people who feel entitled to something that they didn't earn are learning that they are not entitled and they need to do things themselves like everyone else.
Oh, wow. I have a feeling in today's video, I'm going to feel vindicated for a lot of my talking points that I usually say because, yes, this is the stuff that no one ever says, but it's the truth. And vindicated or not, it wouldn't have mattered to me one way or the other because I know that I'm saying the truth. And so ultimately, in the end, the truth is always going to age like fine wine. But it looks like there's more people that see things the way that I see things out there. And so I'm thinking it's going to continue that trend in this video because I say those same things. We just completely removed the decision out of it, especially, and we're going to see some examples in this video as well. Some very egregious examples. And I love how we just have the veil up as if like these decisions are just happenstance and you had no control over it and now you're just superwoman and we just cheer you up and we just say you just give all the help that they can get because they're just doing this great thing to the world when really you did it to yourself. It's like we're hyping you up like you're being philanthropic or something when it's like, no, you're just taking care of the kids you decided to have. And so they're saying a lot of the things that I always say. And I think that's amazing. It's good to know that there's other people because it's not like I follow anybody for anything. I just was seeing things and then I was reacting to it truthfully with what I really thought. And I guess it's not such a foreign concept as I thought, but it's still not something that we address as much as we should. And we don't really just ask the 3-letter word or the 3-letter question, which is why. Every time we see these situations and people are in these effed up circumstances, and we never ask, like, why did you decide to have all these kids? Why did you decide to get with a dude in prison? Why? We never ask why. And so it looks like we're going to be asking why today. Y'all, before we get back into it, if you could like the video, I greatly appreciate it. Only takes a second, and it actually helps out more than you know. And also, if you could hype. The caption says, listen to a single mom of 6 rant. So we have our first case study for today.
Listen to a single mom of 6 rant.
Because my kids get pushed off the bus yesterday for 3 fucking days, and the bus driver tells me, "Oh, this stuff been going on for weeks." I said, "Well, why haven't you called me?" She said, "Oh, because they're kids, and when I tell them to stop, they gonna stop." Of course, they're kids. But why would
What?
y'all get put off the bus knowing I don't have a car to even get y'all back and forth to school? So now I'm at home.
But hold on. And see, this is the lack of accountability I'm talking about. See, don't let her fast talking go right by you. All her kids done got put off the bus. Man, why are all 6 of your kids bad? They put off all of your kids. It wasn't just one bad kid. She said all of y'all gotta go. They all got put off. And at first she was like making it seem like it was the bus driver who was at fault. Like, what you expect? They kids. But then when the kids came, then she's getting mad at the kids, talking about y'all got put off the bus knowing I don't got a car. So who's at fault? You just mad at the world. You know what? You're at fault. Why'd you have all these kids that you clearly can't raise effectively, right? You clearly don't have the bandwidth to be able to instill the values in these kids that they need so that they don't come out here terrorizing the rest of the world. But you want to she put both the other sides at fault. Her kids at fault and the bus driver at fault, but she doesn't have no culpability in it. And she's a saint, huh?
To stop, they gonna stop. Of course, they're kids. But why would y'all
Of
get put off the bus
course.
knowing I don't have?
You tell them to stop and they don't stop. Of course. They're kids. No, of course. They're poorly raised kids that when an adult tells them to stop, they don't stop.
Have a car to even get y'all back and forth to school. So now I'm at home for the extra 3 days with kids. Am I mad? I'm not really mad, but I'm mad at the bus driver because why would you
Now
let
she
this
mad at the
carry
bus
on
driver.
and carry on and carry on? Because the thing about it, you don't know what's going on in my house.
Now
You
we got
don't
to be
know
worried
what
about
I
what's
got
going
and
on
what
in your
I don't
house.
got. As of right now, I don't have a car, so I have no way to get them to school. And then a motherfucker mentioned, "Oh, what about Uber? Can you Uber?" I'm not Ubering a kid to no motherfucking school. Is you cool? Then let's not get on the IRS. When I called the IRS yesterday, they told me that
Now it's
my
the
refund
IRS
was
fault.
rejected when I could see that the IRS had already accepted it. But I can't wait till they fire them motherfuckers because they'll tell you anything. I swear to God. And had me all over the roof about my taxes knowing damn well they want to reject it. Talking about they was rejected for an IP pen and they in the system. I'm confused. Boy, the IRS hire anybody. They say we gonna hire for the season, get these motherfuckers in and out. I don't know. Bills piling up, kids getting suspended from school, off the bus. I don't have no way to work. They don't have no way to school. Shit just a hellhole around this
And she
bitch.
don't got a way to work.
But good thing is I should have an update on my taxes tonight. So that's exactly what I'm waiting on. Okay. You know, a minor setback for a major comeback. You know.
All day because you sat there and got suspended from the bus. So you cannot do nothing. Get her and say I can eat.
And I know y'all probably wondering, she got all them damn kids at school. Her baby ain't nobody going to school around this bitch. And if they want to pay for Uber, then they need to pay for the Uber. Simple as that. Here I am outside looking at the view because, baby, I can't wait to get me a new car and drive somewhere. I don't know, just somewhere.
Shouldn't be saying nothing, Courtney. And let me tell you something. If he tells you to do something on the bus, you fucking listen. Do you understand me? I'm trying to get put off the fucking bus. Why are you put off the bus? Why else? He hit me. Why? I keep telling you not grown, bro. You're not the big brother, bro. Why you in? Why?
And one thing I gotta tell Corleone is he's not the big brother. Huh? One thing about it, he do not like to listen to knowledge, and I figure because knowledge is 9 years old, I don't know. He just don't like to listen, and he feel like he's grown as fuck. So as of right now, I'm in the house, bills is piling up, waiting on my taxes, and yeah, and I need everybody out my motherfucking way, including their kids, including the stop signs, the red lights, all of that shit. But
Everybody.
y'all know what I say. This is a minor step back for a major comeback. So when I get my car, you know I'm gonna be everywhere but everywhere. Oh, let's not forget how I still got a baby at home because they didn't go to daycare. Bye.
And she got a newborn, apparently.
I'm in the house, bills is piling up, waiting on my taxes, and yeah, and I need everybody out my motherfucking way, including their kids, including the stop.
She got all this stuff going on and she needs everybody to get out of her way. So everybody put your ish aside. Put whatever you're dealing with aside. Prioritize me. Get out my way. Understand that I got ish going on, even though you don't know me from a can of paint. Just like she tried to say with the bus driver, like, "Oh, you putting my kids off and you know I don't got a car." How would the bus driver know you don't have a car? And then so she's supposed to consider that before she does what she would do to any other kid. Ultimately, you want special treatment. You want special treatment. You already getting special treatment. Probably. Yeah, you have to be on assistance. You said you don't have a job. You got to be on some type of assistance. allegedly. But people made their own decisions, and then they expect the world to conform to their circumstances and their situation. The world is supposed to move around you like water and be fluid around you. Meanwhile, you get to be fixed. You get to operate however you want to operate. Because the way you talk, who can tell you, hey, stop swearing so much? Because I'm going through something. Listen, I'm going through something. I got this going on. And so I don't like to hear people swearing when my bills ain't paid. Stop swearing so much. Who thinks she would just take that and just be understanding and empathetic? But everybody got to adjust everything to what you have going on. I think that's incredible. People cannot see past their own selves. It's amazing.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? My name is Big Sexy Official, and I would ban women and men having children that are not financially stable.
Oh.
I think that it is so irresponsible to go and make a baby when you are struggling so bad yourself. When you cannot pay your bills, you cannot feed yourself, you cannot provide for yourself, and you're having 5 and 6 children. You are bringing kids into the world in a space that is already not healthy for them. And then you wonder why there are so many kids out here that are disobedient, getting into trouble because they come from a home where they are already in a bad place. I think that it is just so selfish for women and men to have kids and they not in a good place in their life. I think that is so crazy. And y'all be wanting to worry about everything else that don't matter when it comes to our community. And y'all have 5 and 6 and 7 kids and you don't even have no damn job. That is so crazy to me. And then us as a community, we'll congratulate them and say, congrats, knowing that she's already struggling.
So you want to ban her?
Yes,
Look.
and him.
So say ban them.
Ban them.
Look.
Hey, what's going on?
And he already did it. This is how we avoid accountability. This is how we avoid accountability. She was just waiting to avoid. She didn't even want to address listen, man. Say what you want about him being sassy or whatever. At this stage, man, we just need logic. We just need people telling the truth. So I will take all the reinforcements I can get on that plight of people just calling it like it is so we can actually solve the problem and get back to common sense and get back to accountability. So I'll even listen. I don't care if I got reinforcements and they got lip gloss on. You know, I'll take all the reinforcements I can get because it's just getting so insane. And see, that woman is the problem because, again, she's trying to suppress what he's saying or trying to detract from what he's saying by then trying to put it, oh, well, address the man too. He did address the man. The entire time he was talking, he said women or men. But that's like her automatic response to try to detract accountability and ultimately deflect from what we're talking about, because it was probably a hit dog hollering, right? She's probably a hit dog hollering. And funny enough, if you had 10 dudes in that room and you had 10 women at random in that room, it would be a lot more hit dogs that were women hollering than men. And we can see that. It's not that many dudes getting a lot of women pregnant, but it is a lot of women out here getting pregnant by a bunch of different dudes, and somehow all the dudes seem to intersect because the minority of dudes is having a lot of kids. So let's focus on the problem and let's just be like, yes. See, I could have detracted away from what he said by bringing up whatever, lip gloss, but I said, nah, we gonna run with that. He's preaching. So let's not take away from that. The caption says how I became a single mom of 6. So we're actually going to get somebody to actually tell us how it happened, because remember the word is why, but you can interchange that with how as well. Like, how did this happen? Why did this happen? So let's see if she's going to be fully transparent. Underline fully. Let's see if she's going to be fully transparent or if we're going to have to try to piece together some of the gaps that may be missing. But let's just check it out.
Y'all come and clean my balcony with me while I sit and chit chat about how I became a single mom of 6 babies. Okay, y'all, so bear with me because I'm kind of going to be bearing my heart out and just putting a little bit of my business out there, but not too much. So
Not too much.
Keep it cute, y'all. Keep it cute.
Not too much.
So
need
where did
all
we
of it.
start? I guess you could say about 10 years ago when I had my first baby with my first 5 children's dad. Of course, you know, we had babies along the way around the span of 10 years, pretty much. Our kids are not that spaced out, so you could pretty much guess like or figure out the timeline for yourself. I'll let y'all know along my journey and along my way their ages, and y'all can figure that part out for yourself. But pretty much had my first baby with him. A lot of red flags, but of course I ignored them. The first being that he didn't want to marry me.
That was the obvious thing, right? Wasn't that what everybody was thinking? Like, that's already an anomaly. I actually want to give her kudos for that because when I heard, you know, it's actually rare to have majority of your kids by one man now. So I was gonna be like, well, cool. But of course, the obvious questions are like, were y'all married? That's the first thing I wanted to know. But then she threw in, I didn't know it could get any redder than red. But then she threw in the crimson flag, or no, the burgundy flag, the dark red flag, ultimately, which was now you're talking about he had red flags. How do you have 5 kids with a guy that had red flags? I hope she's gonna explain that.
A lot of red flags, but of course I ignored them. The first being that he didn't want to marry me pretty much after our first, and then I
So
allowed
how'd
him
you
to
have
put a ring on my finger, which he did. But nothing ever happened after that, and it was just a whole entire
okay.
thing of just toxicity. It wasn't all bad, but it was more bad than it was good. And then, of course, like a dummy, I went and had more kids with him. So I eventually learned my worth, and I just had to get up out of that situation. And just had to show my kids pretty much what I deserve. But of course, you know, I am made of this flesh, even though we are in the image of God. And after we finally decided to call it quits,
I'm so conflicted. It's like I was gonna understand a little bit. I was gonna listen, man. I be trying to give people slack. If I'm really just being authentic to myself, like I'm still like really not even buying it or not buying it, but I still don't feel like that's a valid excuse. But I was gonna give her that until she said, "So you had 6 kids with the man?" Because listen, you say that okay, I had the first kid, then he put the ring on my finger. So then I guess that made you feel secure. He made you a fiance. But each kid you only had the first kid at that point. And to conceive another kid would take at least 9 months. And you went on to have 4 more kids, which is at least 4 years, 5 years. So why would it take that long for you to recognize that he's not going to marry you? As well as the fact then you decided to have all 5 of his kids, then say you want to show you and his kids that you get what you deserve. And so you left the family that you started in trying to make an example and show the kids to get what they deserve. But now you just took away what they actually deserve to see. They actually deserve to have both parents. They deserve that. But you took that away in order to show them what they deserve. That's incredible. The logic that we try to associate with really just us being selfish and just being egotistical and putting our ego before our responsibilities, the innocent responsibilities that didn't choose to be here.
I had been through a domestic situation. Oh my God, guys, the whole 9 yards. I could talk about that in a part 2 if y'all like. I pretty much used another person to try and heal, what you should never do. Do not ever do that, young ladies. Do y'all hear me? Do not ever use another person to try to get over another person. It doesn't work. So I pretty much was in a very short-term relationship with my youngest baby's father.
Oh my gosh. Ma'am, it's one thing to use another person to get over somebody. But why'd you have to get pregnant? You could have still used him and not got pregnant. You could have still used him for fun or as a rebound and not got pregnant. Plenty of people do it all the time. You should have looked at the 5 kids that you already had. I don't care what you were trying to use to get over somebody. You have experience of creating 5 kids and you know how it happens and you know the impact of it. And now you're single with them. So why wouldn't you take that precaution to make sure that that didn't happen? These are the questions we have to start asking.
He was really just supposed to be for helping me to get over it. But of course, when you do what grown folks do, you get a baby out of it. Especially if you're not using protection or anything like that.
What?
Some advice that I would give to my, I guess you could say before self, was to take some time to learn who you are. Take some time to assess the situation and try to learn from the previous situation. This is not a ploy or a plot to try to get sympathy or...
Okay. I think we're done with that. So we can get to the next stuff. But I want to leave it on a good note. I like the fact that she was actually teaching other people and saying this is not the way. And basically, she made sure to identify that and distinguish that for the younger ladies out there. So kudos to her for telling her story. And she was somewhat transparent. She was transparent. And I think that is a common, well, that ain't that common. But yeah, kudos to her for at least saying why you shouldn't do it. It says, the caption says, stop having kids y'all can't afford. But the description is what I always say too. It's a lot of intersections of what I always say. The description says, having kids you can't afford is neglect. I don't care. So I'm not the only person that thinks that. I've said that before. If you've been watching me for a while, you've heard me say that. I didn't hear nobody say that. That's what I'm thinking. If you got kids on this earth right now that need you, and then you decide to go have more, and you know that it's going to make y'all situation worse, then you just neglected the kids that you have. Yes, we love the kids that come after the fact. Once they're here, we love them. But you were supposed to be responsible, and ultimately, you were supposed to be making sure you didn't make the kids that you were already responsible for making their lives worse or harder, especially when you end up to where you completely cannot take care of the situation and you have to end up being saved by external forces.
Fucking enrages me. The fact that y'all are still having kids that y'all can't afford fucking enrages me, and it makes me want to do things that would send me to jail for life.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, and I say that as somebody who is a product of parents who couldn't afford them, and I'm still suffering for it for this day. Your kids are never gonna stop struggling unless some type of fucking... And that's the thing, I feel like people think that miracles happen all the time, and they don't. They don't. Like, and also too, y'all don't understand how hard life is when you don't have anything to fall back on. It's just like you cannot make a mistake. And when you're young, like, you make fucking mistakes.
That's true.
You're not the best with your finances. And then also too, like, I'm sorry, that's why it's just like setting kids up to fail, because when you have kids that you can't afford, that already tells me that you're not good with your finances. So what tells you that all of a sudden your kids are just gonna be and they're gonna be any different than you are? They're fucking not. Like, and especially with everything that's going on, I just don't understand it, bro. They're taking away the Department of Education. Like, they're making it harder to get student loans. Everything is unaffordable, and y'all are still having kids. Y'all are fucking stupid to me. Stupid and dumb and just cruel. And I will never think anything otherwise. And when people around me, bro, when I know people around me don't have money to have kids and they tell me, oh, we're pregnant, I don't have a congratulations for you. You're dumb. The fact that
her description, because it's a common theme, her description says this isn't judgment, it's awareness. And it lies more, but we'll just get started.
Stop having kids you can't afford and then getting mad at the world that you're broke. You can't heal generational trauma if you keep recreating it. Being a parent isn't a reward.
Oh my goodness. Yes, they're just saying they're touching on all the things. Stop having kids you can't afford and then being mad at the world that you're broke. How many people on government assistance and all these type of things do we see that come on here and say, "What do you think we're supposed to do? We have kids. How could you do this? You're supposed to do that." And it's like, it's the taxpayers' responsibility. And it's like, you chose to have kids. We can never get away from that. As much as they try to pull us away from that and just skip straight to the how could you let kids do it? We need to stop skipping past the you chose to have kids. And then just like the other woman, you clearly wasn't married. And then you decided to have another 4 kids after the first one you already had. Then you had a rebound and had another one. These are absolutely choices. And we can never get away from that, especially when you then try to pin us and use our sympathy against us and try to act like we're the bad ones when you made these decisions that you don't want to be responsible for.
Stop having kids you can't afford and then getting mad at the world that you're broke. You can't heal generational trauma if you keep recreating it. Being a parent isn't a reward, it is a responsibility. If you know you can't provide your child with the life they deserve, love them enough to wait, guys. Build stability, build discipline, build a foundation strong enough to give them something better than struggle. Because kids don't just need love, they need structure, safety, and opportunity. You break generational curses by refusing to repeat the same mistakes that created them. Don't raise your child in the same chaos you pray to escape. When you heal, you make decisions from understanding, not survival. You choose patience over impulse, wisdom over struggle, and love over pain. That's how you change a story, not just for you, but for every generation after you. Stop.
And here's another thing that we have to address that they'll try to say, like, "Oh, well, you're smart. You know better. You're a smart person. Y'all were blessed with smart and y'all were taught." What teaches the best? What's the best teacher in life? Experience. That other woman, she had experience of what it was like when she had the first kid, and then he said, "I'll make you a fiance," and put a ring on it. Then she had 4 more. She had been learning. She had been getting taught. She was taught what it feels like to have kids. Then she got taught what it's like to be a single mother with 5 and how hard that was. And then she still didn't take the lesson and move different. And she had a 6th one off of a fling with a dude. So let me get this straight. You were pressing your ex fiance because he wouldn't marry you. And then you decide to get pregnant again with a rebound. See, this is what we really have to dissect. This is really what we have to dissect. It doesn't make any sense. You learned the bet from the best teacher, which was life. But then people continue to do it. They continue to do it. There's people who get evicted and then go get evicted again. Once that finally, when someone else gives them an opportunity. We just have to understand there's certain people who are impulsive, who just want what they want and are still childish in their mind. And that just want to do what they want to do. And they don't want to be mature. So then you don't get to have everything. You don't still get to be able to like hold yourself as an adult and say, treat me accordingly with respect of an adult. But then whenever you make decisions that then you don't want to be responsible for, now all of a sudden, I don't know no better. Ooh, I don't know no better. Nah, fam. I ain't going
Have
for
kids
it.
you can't afford. Like, don't have kids you can't afford is basically saying that only wealthy people deserve families. Like, life can't change in like an instant, literally. People lose their job, people get divorced, people can become single parents overnight, sweetheart. Medical bills happen, inflation happens, and a lot of the time your support disappear. A woman or a man can be financially stable during the whole pregnancy process. You get what I'm saying? And a year later, they're struggling. You could be with somebody and they can promise you forever, literally forever.
No. See again. They can be financially stable and then it end. No, financially stable don't end like that. See, you don't understand what financially stable means. Financially stable means that you have some savings that will be able to carry you through those periods that she just mentioned as far as losing your job. That's financially stable. Then what does she say? A man could promise you everything. See, she would say that that's relationship stable. No, being relationshiply stable would be not a promise, it would actually be the commitment, the marriage. You don't get to just try to talk around it and reinvent what stability is before you have a child. It's very clearly outlined. We just keep trying to stray away from it and act like it doesn't exist.
Stable during the whole pregnancy process. You get what I'm saying? And a year later, they're struggling. You could be with somebody and they can promise you forever, literally forever, and then disappear 6 months later. Life is not a
You didn't know that already?
spreadsheet, bro. And honestly, real talk, if you use that logic consistently, a lot of people wouldn't have no kids for real. I wouldn't be qualified to have children. Children have been raised in wealthy homes and been neglected emotionally. Let's just not forget that. Money don't make no happy home, boo. Children have also been raised in struggling homes and been loved deeply. I'm talking about cared for deeply, taken well care of. You wouldn't even know they was fucking struggling.
Oh, okay. Well, here's the thing, right? That's true. There's people in wealthy homes, I guess that's neglected, right? And then there's people in struggling homes that apparently get all the things in the world, and it's a great, loving environment. Okay, well then, people need to start being okay with just struggling then. But see, the problem is that there really is there is no struggling home because there's going to be somebody, the government, to pick up the slack. So if you're okay with being in a struggling home, then actually be okay with being in a struggling home and struggle. And you struggle. Not I'm struggling, but I still have all these other things pouring into me that then incentivizes me to not even try anymore and just find a way to make that work. You can't call a struggling home where you don't have to work. Guess what? Even if I'm financially stable, it's a struggle to go to work every day and show up for that and be disciplined. So everybody's going to have a struggle, and everybody ultimately does have a struggle. But at the end of the day, what needs to happen so that things can be more sustainable in general is that people need to take responsibility for their personal struggles that they chose to do. I want a certain way of life, so I choose to work hard. And I'm going to take responsibility for that struggle. I'm not going to pass that on and feel like somebody needs to show up and clock in for me. Ultimately. Y'all, we'll leave it there for today. That was a good one. We might do another part 2 of this in the foreseeable future. We'll see how this performs. But yeah, if you could like the video, I greatly appreciate it. It only takes a second. And again, it helps out more than you know. And also, if you could hype. Hype is a new feature that YouTube offers where it helps smaller content creators like myself. And basically, when you hype, it actually pushes us to the extent that it pushes the larger content creators. So you just press the hype button and it shows the points. And since I am a smaller creator, a smaller channel, we actually get more points per hype. And hype was designed for smaller channels. So that's why your hypes go further when you support smaller channels. But if you do come across a video and you don't see the hype button, then it's probably been over 7 days, and hype usually vanishes after 7 days. So it's usually best practice if you want to hype to go ahead and hype while the iron is hot. And then also if you want to become a member, you can look on this video and you should see the join button. And so you can just press that join button. And what becoming a member would include is you would get badges next to your comments, so people would be able to see that you're a member of the DXU family. And then also that can come with early access to content as well as exclusive content. So if you want to become a member, definitely feel free to hit that join button again. And until then, I'll see you all in the next video.